Ideally, I don't like to have this chat opened on the screen I'm sharing. Unfortunately, I have to use a single screen today for this session, so you have to bear with me. I would make sure this does not cover. I think maybe what I would do is just put this on a new page, right? Okay. All right. So user experience research and the design. So let me also expand on this. Right. Okay. All right. Basically, if you've participated in some of the sessions I handled, you would understand that I hardly do a couple of. I just do maybe like one or two slides. I really don't like spending much time talking about the theory of stuff. But in this session, we're going to talk about lots of theories. Though I do not have like a very compound presentation to share with you. But we're going to cover these theories, and we're going to spend the next 1 hour talking about an app, right? We're going to spend the next 1 hour talking about an app called Miro. I'm going to explain the point of having to use this app and why I think it's going to help you a lot. And I believe most of you might have also come across this app probably in the past or recently. But we're going to explain a couple of things about this app. We were supposed to do this during the workshop session and also have it recorded. Unfortunately, I think I was on the call for about 8 to 10 minutes, and no one joined the call, so I had to end the session. So user research actually covers a lot of things that I think would take up most of our time. So we have to really plan well to make sure we cover up the 1 hour session we've missed for that workshop, so we can cover a couple of things also. All right, so let me kick off already. Let's see how many people we have on the call, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so what is user experience design? Or you hear people say UX, right? So basically, we have we have UI, we have UX. We've been doing a couple of UI related stuffs for the past few days, trying to get the complete understanding of how to use Figma in creating UI tokens or components, or maybe building up a couple of layout designs. So we've come up with a couple of designs. Though I'm very much aware we did not do much on mobile design, which we definitely have to work on as well. When it comes to the research part of things, I think I'll just make it very straight for you. You need to understand that user experience is simply referring to the patterns that the user would have to should I say abide in when it comes to using your solution. So from a simple definition I got from Wikipedia, we have here, it says the user experience is how a user interacts with the experiences, a product, system, or service. Okay, so now we're talking about not just experience on a specific product, but it can be on a system, it can be within a service, right? Okay, so let me also try to break this down. So when we say system, a system must not be a software product, right? It can be a device, like a physical device, but it can also be it can also be like it can also be more like the pattern or the experience you get from a community, right? Yeah, so the experience you get from a community, from an interview, from discussions, right? As users, which are of course humans, we expect that our feeling, our time, everything comes into trying to accomplish something, which of course can be a task, or maybe you have like a daily routine. Yeah, and I think this is something very important. You have to consider this in basically almost every single area. In some other fields, it might not be called user experience specifically, but of course, it covers a lot of areas. So personally, working as a consultant for quite a long time now, I have discovered that building products, you cannot avoid conducting research or trying to trying to design the experience of the user. So designing the experience of the user here does not specifically refer to drawing pixels on your screen and trying to design the app itself, right? But from an engineering standpoint, I might use the term workflow or steps. From a design standpoint, as a designer or as a researcher, you can maybe start talking about the information architecture and so many other things we're going to talk about. But you need to always try to understand that when they are talking about research or building up the user experience from an engineering or design or product standpoint, they are basically referring to how the user would interact with that specific piece of technology or product or system or even service. Okay, and it also says it includes a person's perceptions of utility, and I'm going to explain this in a bit. The ease of use and also efficiency. Okay, so what do we mean by a person's perception of utility? So I usually say that people's perception is something that you can't joke with. For example, let's assume build up a simple application, maybe like a website or like a mobile app, and we bring in like 10 different users or potential users to try out this application. Of course, you're expecting different feedbacks because these users have different backgrounds, different culture, so a lot of these things will definitely shape their perception of that particular product or that particular system that they're trying to test. So you need to understand that things like conducting user interviews, speaking with users, communicating with them, asking them a lot of questions, and as a matter of fact, even during these interview sessions, there are also rules that you as the designer have to follow to make sure you don't totally screw it up by maybe psychologically determining the response of the users even without knowing that is what you're doing. Yeah, so we've had some kind of situations where we had to connect to a couple of users to ask questions, but the problem is we noticed that the way you frame questions actually matter a lot, because you don't want to box people into responding to your question based on the way you framed it. Probably like you are giving them options, and they have to now think based on the options you gave them and make a decision based on your options. At that moment, that is no longer a research on the user, but it's more like a research on the user based on your decisions. So there are some patterns and also anti-patterns that you will definitely discover during this session. Though we might not cover everything, but we'll definitely provide a couple of resources so you can read through. We would have a lot of practical assignments. 1 minute, please. All right, sorry for that. Okay, so we're going to kick off with understanding one of the main tools we are going to be using during these sessions. We're going to cover a lot of tools, but this is like the primary tool we're going to be using during these sessions. So let me take a quick look at how many people we have on this call. Okay. All right. So I am going to send a link to the chat. So you can download this if you don't have it, or you can also use it on the browser. I mean, it's quite good on the browser as well, and I hope I'm posting this on the right group. Yes. All right, so go ahead and download this or create an account. So what is Miro? Okay, so basically this is a tool for collaboration, where you can have like some sort of whiteboarding session with your fellow researchers or designers. And from my experience, I've also discovered that it's not only used by designers, of course, it's also used by engineers. I've had to, do some collaboration with a couple of engineers and also researchers on this platform. So you just have to click on the sign up for free. They have a free plan where you can at least have, I think, about three. I think one workspace with like 3 artboards, or probably like 3. Should I say 3 files? Yeah, but you can sign up with your Google account, or you can sign up with one of these social accounts. or social options, or you can just put in your name, your email, your password, and when you're done, you can then sign in. So I believe you received the link on the chat. There are a couple of other platforms you can use for the same thing that we're trying to achieve here, but this is one of the recommended platforms that we would definitely ask you to use. Yeah, so I already have an account and I already have the app installed. And yes, so this is Miro. What we're going to do is I'm going to explain a couple of things using this simple guide I have here. We're going to talk about the navigation on this application, the purpose of using this app first. I think I'll start from the purpose, then the navigation. What I mean navigation, like, several parts you're seeing here. Then we'll talk about the left menu, which basically has all the tools that we can probably need to use on the app. Then also formatting, which is like changing the properties, right, of some of these details or some of these items when you add them to your board, and also sharing. So that is why we say it's collaborative, because we can easily share and allow people join this file to view or probably edit what we are doing, depending on your plan. So basically, this is what you would see, right? And you can actually search for your previous boards if you have some here. You can create a new board to do what we call mind mapping. So just in case you don't know what mind mapping is, it's basically trying to connect several things to one central, source, like, central idea. I think I would show you an example. We basically have like a lot of templates, which of course I'm going to show. Let's see if we can search for a mind map. Okay, so as you can see, we have different options for mind maps. These are things I think you need to know, even though we are not like going to talk about them like immediately, but you just need to know whenever you see a mind map, you need to understand that it's someone, probably a researcher, trying to connect several things to one central idea, right? And yeah, you're definitely going to come across most of those things, or you're definitely going to try to do some of those things yourself, creating mind maps and all that. Okay, so let's go back here. So as you can see, they have like a couple of templates. You don't really need to design everything from scratch. Once you click on this option, show all templates, it gives you a lot of templates that you can use. And of course, they also did a very good thing by breaking down these templates into several categories that they call use cases. So, for example, meeting and workshops, it gives you different types of templates you might need for meetings and workshop sessions. Such as a customer question board, design sprint. So yes, now the question, I think the big question that I've gotten most times from teaching this particular topic is, a lot of people ask, do we really need to do all these things? No, you don't need to do all these things you're seeing here. It's good most of them, but I mean, some of these things are for engineers, some are for business executives, most of them are for designers and UI UX designers. But what we are going to do is I'm going to give you kind of like a guide on what you would need from here. So, for example, agile workflow is definitely not something that you might be in the position to do, except maybe you are a design lead and you want to come up with like an agile workflow. Agile, of course, is a methodology applied when it comes to software development, or even a lot of other areas, even design, marketing, and all that. So if you are a design lead, then definitely you might be doing some of these things. But at the end of the day, as a designer, what you're going to find yourself doing most of the time is, creating wireframes with this app. So it's easier to even create wireframes with this app, Miro, than to do it on Figma, because of course wireframes, you just have to be fast, right? You just have to come up with something that you can present. This is kind of like a lighter way to create wireframes. Then you do your hi-fi on Figma. You can create a customer journey map, which is something very important when it comes to building products. You have to map the way your customers move from one screen to another screen on your application, or maybe from one step to another step if you are kind of trying to build a complete system, not specifically not specifically an interface. So you need to understand that being working as a UI UX person, you must not be designing screens all the time. Sometimes you might find yourself tasked with trying to design a process, right? Just imagine you are given a use case of a client passing through several steps before they actualize something. You might be in charge of trying to design the process, right? Maybe the client or the customer has to do a couple of things along the way. Registering on the website, getting a link on their email, picking up some sort of code from the email, putting it on maybe like a smart device in an office space to get some other results. So these are processes, right? So you need to design that process by coming up with workflows. And also the journey map. So there's also something called the Touchpoint Map. Sometimes I've seen situations where designers also have to, like embed the Touchpoint Map inside the journey map. I've seen that. But if you have if you have enough time, which I believe you should be able to give yourself enough time to also come up with a touch map, which is like totally focused on just the touch points on the application or system you're building. We also have the user story map. We have the affinity diagram, which is also very important because you can use the affinity diagram to organize and cluster several ideas. So you see, we have like description of these various things. I think this is what makes Miro a very good application for research because it defines these things very well. And I can see some other things, as I told you, that the software is not just for designers, but at least it makes you understand some things happening in some other related fields, right? People you would have to work with. You are also able to see some of these things here. Okay, so let's come down to research and design. So you see we have the touch point map, we have the wireframe, we also have where is it? We have the concept map, we have the journey map, we have website wireframe. These are templates, right? We have the affinity diagram, the empathy map. So I'm just like mentioning some of the things that we're going to use. Feature Canva, this is very good, very important. I think what else? UX canvas, but not really compulsory for our research. But sometimes you can definitely use this because from the description here, the lean UX canvas would help you clearly analyze and understand both the business and the user side of your product, right? So this is also something very important if you are tasked with doing this. Of course, companies will definitely have like bunch of members on the design team, on the UI UX team. So you don't have to necessarily be the only one doing everything here, but it's good to know them or try them out so that if you are tasked with coming up with a lean UX canvas, you know what to do. And of course you can use this for presentation, right? For presenting even your high fidelity designs. You can export probably as images into Miro, and there are a couple of embedding that we can do. Maybe like trying to embed a video, embed a file, a PDF file. So I'll show you some of these things, and I'll definitely have to come back here. So let's see. If you have any question, go ahead and drop your questions. I think I would have to connect. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. So this is what you get once you have signed up on this application, and you can click on this. This is going to refer to what you see here is basically my team, right? This is build team, so I don't have to click on that. You can actually see these are all the artboards that I have inside this team. When you click on start, it gives you like the artboard that you've started, which means like your favorite artboards, right? So just imagine I start this particular one. Let's go down to start, and you can see I have this artboard, which is just a low fidelity prototype right here. Okay, so projects, you can add a project. I cannot add a project on this account right now because this is currently on the free tier, on the free plan. So I cannot add extra file, but at least you can have up to 3 projects, right? You can have up to 3 files. No thanks. I don't want to upgrade on this particular account. The question here now is what is their plan like? Is it cheap, right? Is it expensive? Well, I think it depends. It depends on your use case. It depends on what you use it for. Basically, as a beginner, you can use the free plan, and I've also seen a lot of professionals using the free plan. But if you want to have like so just imagine you have up to 5 members, 6 members, maybe on your team. I mean, this is quite cheap for your business or company to pay for. If you have up to like probably even 5 members in your company, $40 is not a big deal, right? Uh, as a matter of fact, I think this is. Oh wow, okay. Yeah, so I don't think this is a big deal. This is a very fair price. So you can check it out if you want to upgrade. You can also invite members into your workspace. So I have a workspace right here. You can invite members. So you have your friends and you want to collaborate with your friends on going through a research process. Maybe you're trying to build an app for a transportation line or for a fashion company. You can invite your friends that are also designers or researchers, to join you in the process of coming up with this, of working on this idea of yours, or maybe the idea you're trying to implement. Okay, so that is it for invites. Yeah, I think this is your notifications. Of course, if you have unread messages, I think this is help or guide. Then finally, these are just filters to filter what you have, showing up here. Okay, let's go back to all boards, and I'm going to open a random board I have here. Oh yeah, so I think it's opened already. So which means you can actually have multiple files opened, just like your Figma, and you can navigate from one point to another. Okay, so now this is actually a very simple file. I think we used it for like some low fidelity design, but I think I deleted it because I already had this open before the call. So what I'm going to do right now, I believe you've at least understood a very basic level of what we are going to achieve with this application regarding research. So let me zoom in and yeah, so at least you understand the purpose. Let's try to navigate this interface you're seeing here. So basically, you have this section for zooming. You can zoom in and zoom out. So let's assume that I click on this. I think I can, yeah, frame. So let's see wireframe library. So let's just assume that I bring in a very simple, mobile frame. So clicking on this, of course, would be to zoom in, right, and zoom out. Okay. So of course you have your help again, or learning. This is learning center. Then you are able to zoom. You are able to fit to screen using this option. You are able to expand this stuff to fill up your screen. So imagine if this was not. Let's see. Let's see what we get here. Right. So using that, I was able to expand this very simple feature. Okay. So from the top right, you can actually drop a couple of notes. So imagine you are trying to build up something. You're not so certain of what your wireframe should look like yet. So I can just write down. So by pressing this slash key, you see, just like Notion, right? It gives us a couple of options on our notes. We can actually add like headings, ranging from heading 1 to heading 3, which of course is different sizes, right? So this is heading 1. So we can have this is heading 2. What you have to do, select this, this is heading 2, just like that. So you have various headings, then of course you have the paragraph, you can take down your notes. So I would change the wireframe probably design or something, or wireframe layouts. Okay, so what else can we add here? So of course we can have a checklist to say, okay, edit the wireframe, work on the user research, work on the empathy map. So as you implement, these steps, or these steps you've created, you can just check it out, right? So this is very good because you are able to do everything from one place. You come back to this file, you see these steps, you add people to this file, and you still have access to these steps. This is really good for you, and if you're collaborating with your team, then I would say for you and your team. Okay, so that is it. We're able to click on this to edit, right? You can also share this note, I believe. So we can share this. As you can see, I can copy this link. I can export this as a PDF. I can export as a document. And of course, there are other things we can add here. Don't forget, so you can actually have like your images, right? So you can import your images. You can put bullet lists. So let's add a simple image. Let's go to pictures, Elon, and I have, yeah. So you can see you can add a very simple image here. So maybe you have like an image describing like what you really want to design. So what I'm going to do right now, let's make this more realistic, right? So I'm going to come down to Figma Crush. So just in case you don't know Figma Crush, I'm going to be giving you a lot of these resources. It's just a place you can just see like a couple of concepts and you can just make use of them. So let's assume I just search for mobile, right? I think I can search for mobile. And of course, there are other places you can also get. So I'm going to take these simple screenshots, right? We're not going to do any design, just trying to make sure. I hope the sound on the background is not so disturbing. I apologize for that. Yeah, so I think this is the screenshot I took. Okay, so you can actually have like a well documented steps, right, or probably well documented design process within Miro. And this is good. You can also go ahead and do this on Notion if Notion is a better place for you. If you're more comfortable with Notion, it's also fine. You can pin this, right? So that is it for notes. You can actually search for components, right? So you can name your components and search for these components, right? So as you can see, I searched for phone and it gave me this particular item, which is, of course, phone. So clicking on it. So that is what makes this, awesome. Because, of course, let's assume you have like a lot of, I'm just going to use Command D, I'm able to duplicate the amount of screens. So we have phone 1, for example, phone 2, phone 3. So I'm just, we have these 3 phones. And let's assume, this is a very large project and we have this in like different, can you just select this, please? Okay. Yeah. So you have this in like different, I think I have to zoom in first. Okay. So you have this like, in different locations and you can easily search, right? So you can easily search for phone 3, right? So you see the way we are moving from one device to another just by focusing on these items. So this is good, right? This is good. And navigation is really smooth and simple and lovely. So take off these guys and let's focus on just one. Okay, so of course notifications, I think I've explained that already. Your settings, so by clicking on that, which I think I usually call that preference. Let's verify. Oh, settings, okay, think the same thing. So I just call that preference. Looking at the icon, most applications will definitely use this for preference, and they will use the cog sign, right? The cog, if you know what I'm talking about, use that sign for settings. So you see, I'm a user right now, and I'm already giving this a description, even without looking at it or without trying to verify what the company named this, right? So that is also part of the experience. So imagine if looking at this, I think maybe it's kind of like an abacus calculator. Maybe let's assume I'm a mathematics scientist. I'm a mathematician, sort of. Sorry, I'm a mathematician, and I'm looking at this, and I call this the abacus calculator, and I decide not to even hover there or even touch this at all, just because that is what I think it is. Of course, this is probably not designed for such people, but just giving a general assumption. Your icons, and also putting little tool tips here to explain what the icon is referring to. It's a very good design implementation, right? So yeah, so this is your settings. You can click on this to follow all thread to be notified whenever your collaborators are dropping messages. As a matter of fact, you can even have like video calls in here, but I think that is probably on the paid platform alone. So you can actually have a video chat with other collaborators. Anyways, let's finish up with this. I don't want to be too ahead of myself. So we have like shortcuts. You can actually follow through with the shortcuts here, to probably you want to create a text, just like Figma, right? T for text, N for notes, which is of course sticky notes, S for shapes, R for rectangle, O for the oval shape. I think some of these are just like basic, something that it's also, I think they're also related to, shortcuts on some other design apps. Yeah, so we have other complex shortcuts that I think you might have to study properly before you know. Some of these are, I think, defaults with other apps as well. Bold. So why you are seeing this sign is because I'm on a Mac, right? So if you're on a Windows machine, I'm sure you should be seeing like a command here because, sorry, I mean control. If you're on a Windows machine, this is command B for bold. On a Windows machine, should be control B, right, for bold. Okay. So back to the settings, mouse or trackpad. You can actually specify if you're using a mouse or trackpad. And of course, the application by default would also detect this, which is great because, yeah, so I can select trackpad, mouse, depending on what I'm using. I'm currently using my trackpad, so I can set that as a default, and the app would, assist me, during the process of, working here to make sure that since I'm using a trackpad, my experience with using this application would be a lot easier, right? So snap objects. So basically, what that means is, you're trying to position a particular object, probably close to another. You're able to snap with this lines you're seeing, right? With these lines you're seeing, you're able to know that this item is kind of like on the same line, right? So this is snapping, right? Same line. So I mean that is a feature that also helps you organize things very well. Um, yeah, we have the background grid. You can turn it on, you can turn it off completely if you don't like it. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see why that is a problem to anyone. You can select a particular screen or object and make it, to display as the stats view. Just like on Figma, you can set something as your thumbnail, a particular design. So you can do something similar here. So let's just imagine we bring in. Let's go to pictures, top scale. We'll bring in the universe logo here. Try to just zoom in. Okay. So I can set this as start view. So let's say done. Come back to boards. Let's see if this is going to refresh or if I have to do that manually. So I don't know if I have to close and open this again. I'm not going to do that anyways. But I click on it. Okay, so let's see if I move this right somewhere. And I save this file, Command S, and I close it. So once I double click on this again, let me see where it's going to take me to. Okay, so my what I think right now is setting this as the start view means when you open this file again, it's going to probably show you the same set of items. So maybe you have like a whole lot of charts and maps and on this page. By setting a specific area as your start view, it will always come back there to that particular area when you close and open that file again. All right, so by turning this on, you can see your collaborators' cursors, the way they are moving from one point to another. Apps and integration. So most of these things are actually self-explanatory, right? So apps and integrations, maybe you're trying to integrate this with Slack so that if you have messages here, it can pop up in your Slack while you're working. Or maybe you're trying to check out the API documentation. You want to, maybe you kind of like want to probably build up a plugin or probably connect to their API for some reasons. Then finally, your account setting, your personal account setting. So you can click on that. You can update your settings, your name, your email, your password, and all that. So let's go ahead and close this for now. Yes, then also for the integration, I think that's something very important. So you might want to integrate this to Zoom, to Figma, to WebEx, right, to Jira, and of course you can see we have a whole lot of integrations here. You might definitely want to use, a whole lot of integration. So check it out. I believe you will definitely want to integrate this to Figma, just like me, or maybe to Notion or to Airtable, to Asana. But as you can see, some of these items are locked, meaning you can only do this when you upgrade to a paid plan. So for example, to Asana is also a project management tool, right? Yeah. So you can also like Jira cards as well. I think they basically almost do the same thing. So you can actually use these options in the paid plan. I think they also have the Google Calendar. Wow, okay, that's great. So you have a lot of integrations you could do, and of course, integrations is very good for any any technologically backed business because people are already they're already used to other tools, right? Though they love your tool, but how can we easily integrate our existing tool to your tool? And I think that is something very important for businesses to always consider. Yes, and I know I might be a little bit fast, or maybe I might be so fast. If you think I'm too fast, you can let me know in the chat. You can share, of course, with your friends or co-workers, right? Using this share option. So all you have to do is click on share, copy this link and share with them, and they can access this particular file. Or you can also choose to invite them, right? And choose to enter their email here and invite them. So I can enter a specific email. As you can see, these are some of the guys I have on my team, Amaka, Francis, and of course I can invite them here, and we can collaborate. All right, so we have undo and redo. Just Control Z, Control Y, right? So that's what you're seeing here, undo and redo. I like the fact that they made these items icons, so that for those of us that, or for those of maybe we have somebody, one or two people that are not so good with using shortcuts. I was about to say those of us, but I mean I love shortcuts. So just in case you love shortcuts, then I can refer to you as those of us. But if you don't, it's not a bad thing. But I think that's why we have these implementations here. You can easily undo and redo. You can also export. So all these items we've been checking out, most of them have shortcuts. You can check them out from the shortcuts section, and shortcuts will make your work faster. So if you can learn shortcuts, please do. On any application if you can. Okay, so you can export this board as a PNG, as a PDF, or even as a template. Maybe you plan to reuse it, right? You can export to a spreadsheet. You can also make it something you could embed, and I'll show you what I mean by that. You can also save it to Google Drive, attach to Jira, and send to interactive display. Maybe share with your wireless TV or something. But embed is a very important feature in the sense that you could actually send this to developers, and they could embed on their websites, or on your website. You could actually use this as well to embed this design on Figma, right? So by just copying iframe, let's assume you want to share. You don't want to share the entire, your entire research environment, right? But you want to share with a team, and they don't need to see everything. You can probably copy these and embed it somewhere on Figma. I think I usually do that when I'm working on projects for clients. I usually embed on Figma, then share the Figma page with them so that they can actually view what I want them to view, and I can really do a lot of customizations. So yeah, you can copy. All you have to do is copy this. You're not writing code anywhere. Just click on it and it's copied. Open up your Figma. Let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about in action. Let's see. Okay. So if I I create a new file, not like this. Come on. So this is the topic. So I can just say new file, and right here /embed. Am I supposed to use embed or iframe? Let's see. Do I have iframe here? I don't. So let's see if this is correct. Embed. I'm not setting. Oh yeah, that worked. Okay. So I think my network is a little bit slow. It's loading, it's coming up. So this is, the size we selected. So you see, you can actually customize this. It's still loading. Then you can put in your text or your description and then share this file if this is more sort of private. So this is a private board, and I think that's the reason. Yeah, so this is a private board. So embedding a private board on Figma might be problematic. So, or you might have to first sign in and all that stuff. Yeah, we're not going to do that right now, and I hope you understand. But I believe if you authorize this from Notion, then definitely that might show up. I'm not certain, but you can try it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and close Notion. Yeah, so simple stuff. And I think, yeah, this is just the name of your file. I think you could rename it from here. You could change the image. Um, hmm. Okay. All right. So, yeah, so I think the next thing we have on our file here is the left menu, which is basically this menu. I'm going to delete these items and let's talk about this menu. Yeah, so all you have to do, of course, is point on this item and it will give you the tip, like the tool tip, which is, this is for select. This is a selection tool, right? This is your template, your text, your sticky notes. So let's go ahead and just implement some of these items. So clicking on this will take you back to the templates area, which, of course, will have a lot of things going on there. We're going to talk about that shortly. Text, you can, of course, type in some text, right? So this is a sample text. Yeah, that is a mistake. Control Z, Control Y. Let's bring it in again. You have to zoom in. So, hello, this is a text. All right, so we have like this text box, and we're able to just easily type in some items there. Of course, on every element, I mean, you should expect a property when it comes to tech related tools like this. When it comes to when you create elements, you should expect properties. So now we just created an element, which is a text element. Of course, you can change the font style, right, or the font face. You can change the font face. So this is an example font face I just used. You can change the font size. You can make this bold and italics and underlined and even striped through. You can set alignment. So imagine you have like a whole bunch of text, right? A whole like paragraph or something. Or maybe you're conducting a research and you're taking down the exact feedback you get from the user on the call. You can put it in here and you can do alignment. So you have like left alignment, right alignment, centered alignment. Then you have bullets and numberings, right? So these are some things I believe you know. You can convert this into a link. We can say this takes us to topskill.org, and we'll convert this into a link, and we'll just okay. So I'm finding it difficult to spell. All right, so this is going to take us to a link, as you can see once we click on it. Also, you can link up items to some other items. So let's see. If we create something here, I think we can actually link apart from the connection. Okay, yeah. So what we have to do is to click. Oh, sorry. What we have to do is to click on this, right click. So you can actually right click on other items and copy the link of those items. So now we have copy link. Then also edit the link we have here and paste that link in here, apply. And how this would work is if we go back to the selection tool, click on the select tool and move this item. So you can probably, or you can definitely do it this way, right? So you see what I did there? I copied the link of this particular element in here and I can click on this and, it takes me to that particular item on the page. So we can have a lot of, things going on our page and we're able to locate, different parts of our research using these links, right? So this is a very great, a very good feature of Miro. I use this a lot and I'm also sure that you will enjoy this as well. Okay, so that is some of the options we have with working with tools. Of course, you can change the color, change the background, right? You can do all these stuffs here. Yes, and I think the next one is sticky notes. You use this a lot, especially when you're conducting research. You're trying to take down. Can I delete this stuff here? Yeah, so you're conducting research and you're trying to take down like a couple of notes. Maybe you're conducting research discussing with a potential customer, and you're trying to take down a couple of details about the customer. This font is way too big. So all we have to do is to take it down. Yeah. So you can also align this. So you can say Sarah, probably 28 years old, right? So you put like the persona. So it's called the persona. You put like the persona, the description of the person you are interviewing, and what the person thinks about the system you're trying to build. I mean, there's always like this kind of mental model, or should I say pattern, that you definitely bring into asking the potential user the questions that you're going to ask them. Of course, we're going to have like a practical interview session, like a mock interview session, where you would get to also see how to ask these questions, and like the feedback from the person asking the question and the customer as well. So yeah, we're going to do that. We are going to do that. So that is for the sticky notes. We have rectangles, of course. So by clicking on this, it gives you like basically all the most of the shapes here. Then clicking on all shapes is going to show you like all the shapes, embedded into this app. So as you can see, there are much, but basically you're going to be using the rectangle most of the time, because some other items here are used for creating some engineering related uh, shapes, which of course you are not going to need. Um, for the most part, you're not going to be using some of this. So let's go ahead and close this. Why is this delaying? What is the cause of the delay? Hmm. Okay, so I think network change. Yeah, so I think that was a network error. If I might have to. Okay, so I just have to open the app again. I hope you can still see my screen. Okay, so someone dropped a question here. I thought one held yesterday for the UI. Okay, actually no. Uh, does that mean with link to synonymous to prototyping? Um, well, you can actually use it. So that's why I said presentation, not necessarily prototyping, because the idea of prototyping is to actually prototype your high fidelity designs. You I don't think you're going to be prototyping, right? So you don't use this for high fidelity designs because it lacks a lot of design tools. Maybe you're trying to add things like linear gradient and all these features from here. And I please hope that is not going to. Um, okay, so I hope you can still hear me. So let's go ahead and just select like the basic shape here, which is of course a rectangle. And we can play around with this. We can add a bunch of comments. So um, this is just describing part of your research process. Okay, so we can actually have multiple, trying to show maybe like steps, right? You can say step one, we'll do this, step two, we'll do that, step three, and you can easily link these items up by using the nodes you're seeing here, the dots or the tiny dots you're seeing here, the blue dots, right? So we call them nodes. So you can easily link this, these shapes. And you can also use this for like, basically you can link all the components you have here, basically, right? So this is good for collaboration, right? So you're having like a call with three designers and you're trying to, you're trying to brainstorm. So of course you can definitely use this. And remember, you can select from multiple shapes we have here, not necessarily the rectangle. Yeah, the next one you have is connection line, which of course almost similar with what we've done. Can connect these items. But this is just a way to, once you select this, you can change the pattern of the connection, right? So, and also you are able to like, click on the item and see all the codes without stress at all. So, of course, let's just stick to this, get this off. Yeah, so the next one is, you're trying to outline something. So I'm going to show you where this becomes very useful, which of course is going to be part of the assignment I will give you guys. Very simple assignment though. But you can easily use this for brainstorming session as well. You are trying to mark or spot some certain things on your design or on your research. We have different options you could select from here, as you can see. Yeah, like basically different options. Um, Even I think you also have like the eraser thing. Yeah, you can easily clean these items. Okay, so yeah, so that is it. I think I would call it like the highlighter. I think it's called the pen tool here. But within the pen tool, probably I would actually call this. Yeah, this is an highlighter, of course. So an highlighter is something you use for highlighting like this text. Trying to show something important. Um, yeah, and yeah, you also have like a comment. So maybe you're collaborating and you saw something and you want to ask a question like, what do you, okay, why you repeating, okay, so yeah, spelling is a problem. Why do you keep saying this stuff? Why do you keep saying this stuff? Okay, so especially when it comes to live sessions, always making a bunch of spelling mistakes. Okay, so that is for comments. Any other person can just come down here, see this as a comment, just like the way you do it on Figma, right? And they can reply you and then also mark this as resolved. If they've resolved this issue, if this is an issue, right, they can mark this as resolved. And of course, you can use the labels to put in like some level of importance or severity. So let's assume this is something very important. You can mark it as red. So just to draw their attention or something. Then next you have like the paper size or page size. So let's delete what we have here. So it's also called frames, right, in here. So I click on this item and I select maybe like a browser size. And basically, I think this should be 1024 in terms of the size. So like the basic laptop screen size. Okay, so this is our frame. We can go ahead to say we want to drop a bunch of components in there. We can also upload. I will show you how to upload. But we can say we want to drop like a bunch of items in here instead of a frame. Let's go ahead and put this here. Let's see if it's possible to expand this. So of course, the frame is just going to put some of these items. You can put in you can of course put in a couple of items here as well. So this is an example. Control D, Control D, and you see the way it's able to snap itself to the grid without having to move it. You can change the color of your stickies. Yeah, of course. Probably you want to show like different level of importance as well. You can change the color. Also make it medium size, small or large size. Okay, so that is for frame and for upload. So what can you upload? Right. So clicking on upload, we can actually upload files from our laptop, maybe like a video. We can actually embed like a YouTube link. So imagine we're actually brainstorming, talking about building like a medical application, sort of, and I just went to YouTube, for example, or Vimeo. I call it Vimeo, but I think some other people also call it Vimeo. So let's go to YouTube and let's search for UIUX. All right, so we're going to see something simple. This is 1 hour. Let's look for something very short. So this is just 1 minute. So I'm going to copy this link, come back here, and I'm going to upload via URL. Okay. So, it's going to load up this video, right? And that's the reason why I selected something very light so that it won't spend lots of time trying to load this up. So you can see, imagine you have a presentation in here and you want to also show them a couple of videos. We can play this from here. Since it's a YouTube video, it should play from here. If it's a video you're uploading from maybe like another person's website, it might not play from here due to what we call cross origin errors. Yeah, because of course the website does not know mirror, right? They are not able to like communicate. But of course, from YouTube is public, so you can actually do it. Yeah, so you can embed your videos. Yeah, you can also embed a couple of other items. So let's come back to embed. Um, you can actually do what we call use the web clipper. So let me go to more. So you see, you can embed from Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, Adobe CC. Yeah, but one of my favorite features actually is the web clipper, and that is actually what I would want you guys to use for the assignment I'm giving you. So what this can do is, let's assume I say I want you. Oh, I don't want to install this. Do I have to? Do I have to install this? Um, okay. Yeah. So just I don't want to install this. Okay. So but the way it works is you can use the web clipper to kind of like grab a section of a website to your page. But I think there's also a way I can show you what I mean. So just a minute. Let me see. Right it is. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Upload via URL. Let's see. HTTPS. Google.com. Is this what I want? Okay, so this is not. This is actually giving us more like a description, but this is not. This is not what I want. So what I want is actually the web clipper. Just so let me see. Web page capture. Oh yeah, so it's quite different. Okay, so for the web clipper is a plugin that works with the browser, so you can use this for like taking a specific section of a website. But yeah, so that is for uploads, right? That's for uploads. If we click on this option here, you see we still have a bunch of things we could do, right? Maybe for diagramming, creating tables, Kanban. Kanban is basically like this kind of interface for work, for task management. So moving from one task from one part of the board to another part. Um, you can check out the templates and you can just search for Kanban. I'm sure you should see an example of what I mean, right? So, but you don't necessarily need this. You just have to understand that yes, you could actually do something with that in here. Yeah, so this is mind map, Google image search, charts, stickies capture. So this is something I really love for the web page capture. So I could actually just do HTTPS Google.com. So imagine I give you an assignment, which of course is an example of what I'm going to give you today. And the assignment is, what I expect that you should do is grab like 3 different websites that you think are looking bad in terms of design. I mean, just specifically bad. What you think is bad. You can screen grab google.com if you think the design is bad. I don't mind. So you have to screen grab it, drop it into Mirror, then just like this. So let's assume bringing google.com. It's going to load this page in here. Oh, come on. Am I having any network issue here? Can you guys hear me? Please, if you can hear me, drop a message there. I want to be sure that I still have the audience listening. So let's see. HTTPS. All right, great. Okay, so I'm just trying to upload a web page here. So what we're doing is when you type in the web page URL, It's going to grab the complete page and drop it in here. I was wondering why Google did not work. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so for example, yeah. So this is an example. I mean, I don't mind if you grab this and tell me that this is wrong, because obviously this is wrong. I don't know what I was thinking, but you can use the pen tool, um, and you can just do something like this, right? And drop a comment. You can definitely optimize the size. So just in case you say this is too large, right? You can change this. Click on that tiny dot you saw there, and change the color. If you want to make it more visible, or you want to use a specific color to show like the severity of error or problem you find here, so you can say this is wrong, right? Um, yeah, so you can do this with, there are a bunch of websites out there that are poorly designed. So you just have to pick three random websites, mark the areas you think there's some problems with that area, and then you can drop a comment, right? So you can drop a comment. Always remember, don't just give me like a bunch of arrows there, right? You have to really tell me what is wrong. So you can say this is poorly implemented due to blah blah blah, right? So you can drop this, and maybe all you have to do next is just point this here, just like this. And this is, I would definitely love to see something like this. I mean, you're showing me that there's a problem, and you describe the problem very well, right? This is how you learn design in terms of like the reason behind the design, and not just the fancy colors and the rounded border radius and all that. You need to really be able to look at designs and tell us if the reason for the implementation makes sense, or if you find it difficult for other people to understand in terms of like accessibility and all that. So you don't necessarily need to bring the site in here before doing all this. You can go to the website, spot the problems, then using the web page capture, you just type in the link in here. So an example, I love trying, I don't know why. Let's try Facebook. Okay, so this is one of the best feature I love, using this tool for, apart from wireframing and research related stuff. And maybe you're trying to compare. Yeah, showed me all these cookies bullshit. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, but you can try. You can just import your website here, and then try to explain. And when you're done, all you have to do is click on share, copy the link. You copy the link, and you will have a place where you have to paste in the link. We'll send you a form where you have to paste in the link, and also your email, for submission. But that aside, I believe you understand some of these things right now. Let's quickly move on. I think we have actually elapsed our time for the class already, but I believe we're almost done with our let's see what else. Formatting, and of course, formatting is one of these things I've been explaining to you, right? So you create a very simple item here, and you're able to change the properties. This is formatting already, right? Change the color of the text. So this is our text. Control A, make it bold. Change the size, increase the font size, reduce the font size, change the color. Right, that's what we're doing already. Set like a background color if you want to. So this is formatting, of course, which is just like changing the properties, right? For text, you can also set properties. So as I said earlier, every object has its own set of properties. So I'm quickly going to explain what I have here. This is for frames, right? Basically what you also saw here. Frames, presentation mode. Let's say you have your designs or your research work, and you can use the presentation mode. It takes off. I think it's also called Zen mode in some other applications. It takes off all those items that are cluttering your screen, and then you can use it for presentation. I really love using this for presentation, so you can try it out. Comments, of course, to view all the comments that you have on the page. Chats. So there's a chat session where you can actually discuss with your collaborators. Voting, and of course, upgrade. But you can use this for like voting or like polls, video chats, of course, on the paid version, and setting timers, and also checking the history of your design so far, what you've done, what you've deleted, everything is logged down for you. So you can actually go back in time, right? You can restore. And I think this is also on Figma, of course. So you can restore and it brings back, that stuff that was deleted. Let me take that off again. Yeah, so I think basically that is it. Most of the time, you're definitely going to be using templates. And back to the templates, we have templates for meetings. This is what you're going to be using most of the time for research, for strategy and planning, for mapping and diagramming. But you're not going to be using this, like, I think I would say, like, a few things from here, like the app wireframe. So if I click on use, maybe I should have done preview first, but you can actually preview before clicking on use. So let's go back to, let's check research and design. And I click on, let's say we're trying to come up with a design sprint. Come on, preview first. Oh, that was a mistake again. Okay, so this is, let's see. So, I think that is also coming in. Let me delete this. Okay, so that was for the design sprints. But I need to take that off. You see, it gives you like a whole bunch of templates that you can use to organize your work, your process within your organization. I would definitely love to take this off. Come on, that is too big. Delete, please. Take it off, take it off, take it off. Okay, so I think I will just go with the Control Z. Let's come back here. So you can preview and shows you like a complete explanation on this, and you can read through, and if this is really what you want, then you can use, right? Okay, so this session was just to break down like the various parts of this tool. We're going to be using this tool like very well. There are some other tools on the curriculum that you are definitely going to learn how to use as well, but this is actually more concrete in terms of like having that one tool that can cover most of the things that we need to be doing regarding research. So while you're on a call with a user, you can be using this for taking down your findings, right? So this is a very extensive tool, and if you did not grab everything from this session, just ensure you check. I'm very sure by tomorrow morning the recorded video will be on YouTube. You don't always have to wait for us to post it in the chat. Try to check YouTube, right? And try to check the title of the video. Then if you can't find it, you can send a message to one of the moderators. You can send a message to me. And I'll definitely reply you. Or you can also drop a message, right? But just ensure you check first to avoid the stress of going down, trying to confirm what is already existing on YouTube. So this is like various parts that you can reuse. They're just giving us like various options, keyboard options, alerts. And this is kind of like using the iPhone design library from the wireframe perspective, anyways. And this is an example of the wireframe, simple wireframe, right? You have your text, you have your input field, and you see this is actually fast to come up with, and you can easily put in your touch points and probably link them together from one particular board. So if I click on this, so if I click on this item in here, you see I can easily move this and say when I click on login, bring me down to this page. I don't know. I'm supposed to. Oh yeah. So I'm supposed to like make this whole thing show. But let me try this. So this is just like linking. Then maybe I can decide to do the presentation, right? Can decide to do the presentation to my team or to the executives or to the company or to the client. And you can just continue having multiple screens, right? When you're done with your wireframe, then you can now move this to Figma to come up with something better because, of course, this tool is limited, right? Okay, so that is it, and I believe you enjoyed this session. Kindly let us know if you have any feedback for your training so far. I mean, let us know via the chat. I think we also have a feedback form. Probably I would ask one of the moderators to send that in tomorrow. I understand we've been having like bottlenecks, especially around the instructors, the live sessions. I mean, it's not easy, and I understand. And even for the students, for some of you complaining about the 12th p.m. sessions. We got a couple of feedback. Some people actually needed it, and I knew that some people also that are working would find it difficult. But I think you have to always look at the upsides and the downsides of some of these things. Looking at the fact that having a class from 9 to 10 or after 10 might be very late for some people, and maybe they have other things they need to do. So, breaking it into 1 hour is quite better. Before I spend your whole 2 hours on this session, I think that should be all, and I will stop here. Have a wonderful night, and thank you.